Hello friends, today we're going to talk about special types of right triangles, two special types of right triangles. Our learning target, I can understand and apply the relationships between side lengths in 45, 45, 90 and 30, 60, 90 triangles. Those are the angle measures of the triangles. Our state standard, know and apply properties of right triangles, including properties of 45, 45, 90 and 30, 60, 90 triangles, to solve problems and logically justify results. So if you have a right triangle where two of the angles are 45 degrees, the legs are congruent and the length of the hypotenuse is square root 2 times the length of the leg. So if we call the leg here, I'm going to call it X instead of S so we don't think it's a 5. If the legs have a length of X, then the hypotenuse has a length of X, whatever the leg is, times the square root of 2. So if we look here, we want to find XZ and YZ. So if I label this X, X, and X square root 2, so I know this side right here, I know that X equals 7, which then means that X square root 2 would be 7 square root 2. That means YZ is 7 square root 2, and XZ is 7. So we want to look at which side they're giving us and figuring out if that's the side that equals X or the side that equals X square root 2. And then we can find the other two sides. Let's look again here. We know this side is X, this side is X, this side is X square root 2. So the side I know is the X square root 2 side. I know X square root 2 is 12 square root 2. So to get X by itself, I'll divide both sides by the square root of 2. On the left side here, then we're left with X. On the right side, the square root 2's also cancel. So X equals 12. Which means JK is 12 and LK is 12. These sides are both 12. This one's a little bit harder, so pay special attention to this one. We know this side is X, this side is X, and this side is X square root 2. So in this case, X square root 2 is equal to 14. It's going to be a little bit extra steps here to get X by itself. I'll start the same way we did the last one by dividing both sides by the square root of 2. So X is 14 divided by the square root of 2. But in math, we can't have a square root in the denominator. So we have to do what's called rationalizing the denominator, make the bottom a rational number, a number without a square root. And how we get rid of a square root is multiplying by itself. So I'm going to multiply both the top and the bottom by the square root of 2. So the top then becomes 14 times the square root of 2. And on the bottom, the square roots cancel, and we're just left with 2. But then we still have to simplify one more time because this 14 divided by 2 is 7. So our final answer then is X is 7 times the square root of 2. So again, a couple extra steps to do that one. Now that we know what X is, I can say that AC is 7 times the square root of 2 and BC is 7 times the square root of 2. So again, if you're looking for steps on how to do this, your first step is label the sides, X, X, and X square root 2. You'll always know one of those three sides. So take the given side and solve for X. And then you plug that in to find the other sides. For a 30, 60, 90 triangle, it's similar steps, but different values. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the shortest side is x. The longer leg is x times the square root of 3, and the hypotenuse is 2x. So we're going to do this the same type of way. First thing I'm going to do is label x, x square root 3, and 2x. So the shorter leg is x, the longer leg is x square root 3, and the hypotenuse is 2x. So it looks like they're giving us what x is right away. X is 6, which means x square root 3 is just 6 square root 3, and 2x is 2 times 6, which is 12. So I know then that the hypotenuse is going to be 12, and that the longer leg is going to be 6 times the square root of 3. So get another one. Shorter leg is x, longer leg is x square root 3, and the hypotenuse is 2x. So we're given that x square root 3 side. I know x square root 3 is 9 square root 3. So getting x by itself, I'll divide both sides by the square root of 3. Those go away on both sides. So I'm left with x is 9, which then means 2x, or 2 times 9, is 18. So I know that side TV is 18, and side UV is 9. Here they're telling me JL is 53 square root 3, and they want me to find the other sides. I know this side is x, the longer leg here is x square root 3, and the hypotenuse is 2x. So they're giving me that x square root 3 is 53 square root 3. Solving for x here, dividing by the square root of 3. Those cancel. So x is 53, which means 2x then is 2 times 53, which is 106. So I know my hypotenuse, or KL, is 106, and I know my shorter leg, or JK, is 53. All right, one more. Here, this side is x square root 3, and 2x. So they're telling me, or giving me, that x square root 3 is 28. This is another one of those problems where it's going to take a couple extra steps because we'll need to rationalize the denominator. So I'm going to divide both sides by the square root of 3. And I'll get x is 28 over the square root of 3. But I can't have that square root in the bottom, so I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3. Our bottom then just becomes 3, and our top becomes 28 times the square root of 3. I can't simplify this anymore because we can't do 28 divided by 3. If we could do 28 divided by 3 and it was a whole number, I would simplify it more, but I can't. So now I know x, 2x then would be 2 times 28 square root 3 over 3. And how we multiply these together is that we just multiply the 2 and the 28 together. 2 times 28 is 56. So we get 56 square root 3 over 3. The last thing we would want to check here is if 56 can be divided by 3, and it can't be. So we can't simplify that anymore. So now I know that my hypotenuse is 56 square root 3 over 3. and my shorter leg is 28 square root 3 divided by 3. All right, so the steps for that one, if you want to know them, we want to label the sides. The shortest leg is going to be x, the longer leg is going to be x square root 3, and the hypotenuse is going to be 2x. You may want to make sure that you tell yourself that as well. Short leg, long leg, and hypotenuse. And then you want to solve for x using the given side. And then once you solve for x, you can plug it in to find the other sides. All right, friends, that's it for today. Have a good day.